Have you ever felt so unworthy of companionship and attention that you purposefully isolate yourself from others, and yet you still act as if you have the right to be jealous of others gathering together without you? If so, then me too. My name is Ishana, and today I'll be telling you about my dropping mental state on a school camping trip. Alright, so this starts on the 24th of June 2023. My elementary school, I won't be naming it, hosted a camping trip to a place called the Silas. The classes that were joining were the 6th till the 9th graders, and we would be staying there for 2 days, so until the 25th. I was really excited to go because I thought it would be a nice way to be out and about without my parents for a bit and maybe make some new friends. But also due to the pandemic prior to this event, I was still adjusting to in-person interactions and, 2 to 3 years of basically isolation from people my age other than from online. So, but I fear I did adjust at a much slower pace compared to my peers. Thus, I amassed envy towards others who had already adapted, or in other words, people who are already easily making new friends. Around 8 or 9 a.m., we got on the bus, and I sat with the only friend I was close with at the time, who I'll be naming as Al for the story. The bus ride lasted around an hour 30 minutes and honestly was the most common part of the whole camping trip. Being lost in thought while listening to whatever song I was obsessed with at the time made it easy to ignore the burning feeling of jealousy. Once we had arrived at the location, we ate lunch at the cafeteria. As I was walking to an empty table, some upperclassmen who were also sitting with Al called out to me and asked if I wanted to join them. I tried to refuse, but they kept insisting, so I caved in and sat at their table. I didn't say a thing though. Watching them chat together did not help with the loneliness I was already dealing with, and the food tasting absolutely horrendous also did not help. The rest of the first day was just spent setting up our sleeping areas, playing the games and activities since we were given free tickets, and also dinner. Sometime around after dinner, so 6:30 p.m., we gathered at the yard in front of the cafeteria. There we were separated into groups of 6 to 7 people, and we were tasked to walk around the area to find a small pin, whilst the teachers tried to scare us since it was dark. After the last group had come back, which was also coincidentally my group, we gathered together for the bonfire. When it lit, people started to gather near around it. People were talking and laughing, roasting marshmallows and sausages, and I just watched them. Al had gone off with their other friends since they were more of an extrovert compared to me, and thus I just sat alone. Frankly, it became boring and infuriating to just sit and stare while everybody had fun, so I walked to the cliff on the other end of the yard because there was a cliff on the other end of the yard. And some of my classmates were also there because they found some frogs or toads, I don't remember. We admired the frogs for a bit, then they did leave. At the cliff, I stared down, and I remember it being pretty shallow, so at best, if you did fall, you'd get some shallow scratches. And while staring down, I expected to feel some sort of anger either at myself or at my situation, or maybe just feeling dejected or just anything, but I just felt empty. There was nothing yet everything inside of my head. I reflected back on the day and how it felt that anytime I was interacting with someone, it felt like I was just observing them. I was just observing whatever they were doing. I was just a spectator instead of actually interacting with them. Honestly, I wanted to just disappear without a trace. I stood there for probably 3 to 4 minutes, but it felt like hours. It felt like an eternity, just staring out to the deep dark space, because below the cliff there was also a forest further out. And just
Unfortunately, I did lose the footage for the last part, but I'll simplify it. Second day, we just went back home. I got on the bus, sat at the window seat, started listening to music while staring out the window. Someone sat next to me, and I was really grateful that they didn't try to talk to me this time. And this experience may have genuinely made me realize that I needed to start improving my mental health. And after this experience, I did try. My mental health now is far better than it was in the 6th grade, but even then, I still have much to improve. Talking to people is still really hard for me. And what I'm trying to say is, although things may look rough, like extremely they can and do now, get better. And know that you are not alone in your struggles.